What's up? It's K.Honesty, and I'm about to review Tyler Perry's Ruthless, Season 4, Episode 4. So, if you haven't seen the 4th episode of Tyler Perry's Ruthless of Season 4, turn this video off, go watch the episode, and come back and watch this video. Anything I say is my opinions, it's my expressions. It does not reflect anyone or anything associated with the show. These are my thoughts and feelings, and I be having a lot of them, so I just want to let you know that. I'm not a public speaker, so I will tend to stutter and pause and look over here to my notes, try to regain my thoughts. You're going to hear me say so. You're going to hear me say probably like 1,000 times. It is what it is. This is just how I talk. Yeah. Please like and subscribe to my channel. Please like this video and subscribe to my channel. It's a easy way to support me without having to spend no money. And it helps your algorithm to help. It's like when you go to YouTube, more stuff like me and what I talk about will pop up on your recommended stuff like that. So just like and subscribe right quick. I got my trusty dandy. I got my handy dandy water bottle. While y'all liking and subscribing, I'm gonna take me a little swig. I never realized when somebody like a comment. Not like a comment. When somebody like a text message, it makes the same sound that it does when you press record on your video camera. Okay, thank you so much for liking this video and subscribing to my channel. Is there anything else I want to say? If you want to, hit the share button and share this video with other people. If you want to, hit the notification bell. That way you'll be alerted as soon as I post something, or if I'm going live. You can do that too. I feel like there's anything else. Not really. I do like to grade the episodes before and after my reviews. I'm going to grade this episode I'm gonna give it an A-. They did their thing because it was a moment on there where I thought shit was about to really go down. And it had me at the end like, come on, man. Like, really? So, yeah, let me see what else. It was something else I wanted to say. I can't even remember, but we're gonna get started. And shout out to Blue Kimball, who plays Andrew on Ruthless. He saw on the Shade Room that I said that I reviewed Ruthless, and he liked it, the comment. So I don't know if he actually coming and watching this shit, but if he is, he probably wouldn't be too pleased because I be just speaking my mind about Tyler Perry and the dialogue of the show. I'm sorry, I gotta speak how I feel. So that's just how it is. But shout out to Blue Kimball, played by Andrew playing Andrew on Ruthless. I don't know if he watching it or not, whatever. But yeah. So we get into this first scene. Remember last episode, Ruth went into Daikon's trailer trying to tell him that he needs to eat so the rest of the women can eat. Daikon pulled some random broad in there and started fucking her in front of Ruth. Ruth got pissed to kick the girl out. And then as they left out the trailer, the highest was standing right there. And I was like, the highest didn't see the girl run out of there half naked or getting dressed. I guess he missed that part. I guess he came after that. I guess. So we get this scene is going back. The first scene, the highest catches. Let me leave this top off because I'm gonna be drinking the hell out of this water. I ain't even gonna hold it. So the first scene starts. It concludes from last episode. The highest standing outside Daikon's trailer. Daikon and Ruth comes out. Ruth's like, "You're highest. You're." She just said, "You're highest." Daikon's like, "You wanted to see me, sir?" And the highest was like, "Both of you come with me." So they follow him and they walk up to these two men that's cutting, that's making logs, cutting logs and stuff for people in their fireplaces, I guess, or just for fire. Oh, excuse me. I was waiting for that burp to come out before I sparked up. But yeah. So he walks them over there to where these men are cutting wood with axes. I just wanted to say that with axes. What was I about to say? Let me see. I just lit this joint even. I'm pissed. Anyway. So he walks him over there where the men cutting wood. He dismisses those men, tells them to walk off, grabs one of the axes from them, tells Daikon to put his head on the little tree stump. Daikon's like, your highest. Even Ruth looks scared. That's how I know, Ruth might try to act like she's such this street bitch and all that, But I think she really does has feelings for Daikon. Either that or she like a real good ass actress. She being an actress and being she's an actress playing an actress on this motherfucker. So if she real life don't got feelings for Daikon. But I think she really has feelings for Daikon. The highest not so much, but I think she really has feelings for Daikon. She looked super scared when the highest told Daikon to put his head when the highest told Daikon to put his head right there, Ruth looked super scared. So Daikon finally, he obeys. He puts his head right there. So then Ruth yells, your highest. The highest was like, be quiet, you wretched woman. He's like, you're evil. He was like, what'd he say? He was like, I didn't have two. He was like, I got two that betrayed me, just like Judas did Jesus. You know, he always talking about Bible stuff and all that, talking about Jesus and stuff. That's why I found it wild when, so the Shade Room, they promoted Ruthless new season. That's how I got that like comment by Blue Campbell, whatever. But when they promoted it, it was a lot of people in the comments saying they ain't like it because he trying to portray Tyler Perry's trying to portray Muslims in this crazy light. And I'm in my head like, when did they ever say they was Muslim on this show? I never heard them say anything about being Muslim. Like, if anything, they always said something about, like, the highest always compared himself to Jesus or God. And the nigga looked like Jesus, for God's sake. Well, I mean, he looks like a figment of what we think Jesus is supposed to look like. From all the books and all that, whatever. But I was like, he never did. I was like, they never did say anything about being Muslim. So I don't even know where people was getting that from. So I was like, yeah, they're definitely not Muslim. So he was like, yeah, y'all betrayed me just like Judas did Jesus. He was like, I don't understand. I give and I teach. He says, always the closest person to you. He was like, you know what it was? He was like, the rock who told me to come to your trailer. I just had the urge to come to your trailer, telling Daikon that. Daikon tries to say something. The highest was like, be quiet before I cut your head off. So then the highest, he looks to Ruth and he was like, it's always a woman. He was like, you used that box in between your legs to, what did he say? He said, you used that box in between your legs to get between us men, like get between us. He was like, women are evil, and in order to stop that spread of evil, it must be destroyed. So Ruth was like, you know your highest. And then the highest lifts the axe like he about to chop Daikon's head off, and then it goes to when the sun goes down. So I was like, all right. I was like, they ain't gonna kill off Daikon. He too important to the show. If they was gonna kill off any, well, a lot of characters getting a lot of roles. It was a lot of new, well, not new, but it's a lot of new up and coming characters getting more roles. Like the little soldier dude that Joan had tell that fake story to Aaron and Laura. Shit, even Aaron and Laura. And then you got this other little soldier dude now that be hanging with him. Oh, I learned his name this episode. The little soldier that Joan had tell Aaron and Laura that little fake story. His name is Lewis. So I learned his name this episode. But they're giving a lot of people speaking roles now. But as far as like important cast members, immediate cast members, if anyone was to die, I think it would either be River or Joan. I don't think they would allow anybody else to die. Everybody else too important. See, they ain't let Lacey die. I was kind of upset we ain't get that, we ain't get no Lacey this episode, but I hate the way her character acts. Like, when she's caught, I mean, I know you gotta suck up, but it's just like, girl, they already know that you ain't with the bullshit. They know you don't believe it. You might as well just take this badass torture. I mean, what can you do? Because it's like they don't believe you. They know you just doing this to be like, not to be tortured and to try to stay in their good graces. But poor Lacey. But like I said, like I keep saying, I think Lacey gonna make it to the end. So after the theme song, we back with the highest, Daikon and Ruth. The highest raises the axe like he about to cut Daikon's head off. And Ruth grabs the joint while he's in mid-swing. He was like, you dare defy me? She was like, you will regret it. He was like, and you threatened me. So then he hits Ruth in the face with like the back of the axe, the little wooden handle part. He was like, how dare you, Ruth? She was like, I'm sorry, Your Highness. He was like, you love Daikon that much, huh? She was like, no, I don't. He was like, then why were you, Hines was like, why were you in this trailer? So this whole time, like since last episode, when they first showed the highest catching them coming out the trailer, I was thinking to myself, okay, I was like, she could just tell him the truth, like, yeah, you know, the women can't eat. And I told him he had to come eat, but at the same time, the door was closed, and you ain't had to go inside his trailer to tell him that. I mean, she could have just told him Daikon was being difficult, but I don't know. So she said, so he was like, why were you in this trailer? Where am I? Man. Now look, I went for my eye appointment this week. They prescribed me some refresh eye drops that I gotta take, but I do get glasses. I'm just waiting for the call to come pick them up. So yeah, I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna be good in a couple of weeks. But for now, we squint. It is what it is. Yeah, so he was like, why were you, so he asked Ruth, like, why were you in Daikon's trailer then? She was like, I'm so sorry, Your Highness. I was like, girl, you don't answer, keep talking about you sorry. She was like, we wasn't doing anything. I was like, girl, tell him what y'all was doing. Don't tell him that y'all wasn't doing anything. That's just hot. So she said, we wasn't doing anything. So then the highest was like, you know what? You gonna go first, says at the roof. So he tells Daikon to grab Ruth. Like, put her where your head was just at, Daikon. Daikon obeys immediately. Shit, he like rather her than him. So he grabs her ass, put it down, and Ruth begging, and she's like, no, you're highest the whole time while she her head getting put on a little stump. So then Ruth gets to yelling to Daikon, tell the highest, tell him. The highest yelling, tell me. So then Daikon's like, we weren't doing anything. And that's what I mean when I say repetitive dialogue. It's just annoying, bruh. Like, Ruth already told him y'all wasn't doing nothing. So when she says tell him, obviously tell him something else that she didn't say already. So she was like, yeah. He was like, yeah, we wasn't doing anything. Ruth was like, I would tell you everything. Yeah. And Daikon was like, Ruth, be quiet. Like, stop talking. So that's when the highest, I guess he felt like, oh, Daikon trying to tell Ruth to be quiet. So he said, what'd he say? He was like, let Ruth up. Daikon kind of like doesn't do it, I guess, quick enough. Still trying to tell Ruth to be quiet. So then the highest hits Daikon in the face with the back of the axe. Daikon falls to the ground, and he like pulls Ruth to get up. So Ruth, as she's getting up, she's telling the highest about she's telling the highest about Elder Mother and her little escapades. She like making passes at the man, doing things with the man, this, that, and the third. Tells him about the story about Manny, saying she cut his dick up, all that stuff. And she tells the highest she was telling Daikon in private because she didn't want anybody to hear it, because she knows how important she knows how special the Elder Mother is to the highest. She telling the highest all this. Like, I know how special she is to you, and that she makes your food, and we need her, this, that, and third. She was like, I swear that is the truth. She was like, on the Raku. She was like, on my daughter. So then the highest, I was like, oh, man. So the highest called some random person over there. It was like, yeah, go get Ruth's daughter. Ruth started freaking out. She's like, no, your high. Like, no, I'm telling you the truth. She used the Daikon, like, Daikon, tell him. Like, at this point, she like, I ain't playing now, Daikon, tell him. My daughter on the line. The highest was like, I will bring your daughter here and put her head right here. Like on the stump. So Ruth was like, Daikon, say something, please. Oh, you gonna have to wait, my bad. Got a phone call, gonna have to wait. So Daikon finally admits, he was like, it's true. So she steady yelling, Daikon, say something. Daikon finally admits, he was like, it's true. He was like, I swear. He was like, we just didn't want to tell you. And the highest was like, how many times have I told you? I mean, how many times have you not told me something? And, oh no, he was like, how many times have I told you that keeping things from me will get you sent to the Raku? I thought he said something else. Because it's been a couple of times Daikon didn't tell the highest stuff. He had to find out when it got bad. And the highest was mad. Like, you tell me stuff immediately when it happens. So I thought that's what he said in that moment, but he didn't. So he was like, yeah. He was like, yeah, how many times did I, He was like, yeah, so how many times did I, God damn it. I will answer those text messages later. They just cracking me up as they coming in. But he's like, how many times did I tell you that keeping things from me will get you sent to the Raku? Daikon was like, he told me plenty of times. He was like, I was just trying to handle it. So then the highest tells Daikon to get up. Remember, Daikon was still on the ground from getting hit in the face from the back of that axe. So Daikon gets up. He's telling the highest he's sorry again. He's like, he didn't want to tell you because he knows how important the elder mother is to him. Same thing, Ruth. Same shit Ruth just said. So that's what I mean by the repetitive dialogue, bro. I get it though. It's supposed to be like the stories like back in the day, Young and the Restless, Bold and Beautiful, all that. However, this is just modern day and it's just too slow for me. But like I said, the plots and stuff be super good. It just be the dialogue and it just to be too slow. So he was like, yeah, Daikon was like, yeah, I know how important the elder mother is to you. Then Ruth chimes in and was like, and we know that you frown upon sex without a coronation. And she looks at Daikon, and I was like, oh, snap. Like, so then the highest called the same dude over there that he sent to get Ruth's daughter. He called him back over there and was like, never mind the child. Don't worry about Ruth's daughter. Ruth lets out a sigh of relief. She happy. Ain't involving her daughter no more. So the highest was like, so you both were trying to help me, huh? So he was like, yes. And he turns, the highest turns to Daikon and was like, trying to help me almost got you sent to the, trying to handle it almost got you sent to the Raku. Daikon said sorry, highest, and never happened again, then the third. Then the highest turns to Ruth and was like, speak, woman, like, you speak now. So Ruth was like, well, me and Daikon have been trying to handle things so we wouldn't upset you. And the highest was like, such as. So this is the part where she lost me. She says, she was like, well, the major one was, she was like, the woman that was trying to stay away from Oliver. And I was like, who is she talking about? Who tried to stay away from Oliver? That's why I said words matter. Like, right? Words matter. Who was trying to stay away from Oliver? I do not remember that. Please, somebody comment and tell me. I'm thinking she's talking about Lacey, and maybe she just worded it wrong, but Lacey wasn't trying to stay away from Oliver. She was trying to leave with Oliver. Oliver was still a little skeptical about leaving. So I was like, who was trying to stay away from Oliver? Because Oliver is the soldier that died that was, that killed, what was the dude name? Lilo. So I'm trying to figure out who is Ruth talking about in this moment when she says the woman that tried to stay away from Oliver. She says that to the highest. She was like, but you handled it already. Said that to the highest. And I was like, who was they talking about? I'm assuming it's Lacey. I don't know. But I feel like in that moment, wouldn't Ruth have told the highest that Lacey was still alive because the elder mother hasn't told him yet, and that would get her like some steady ground with him. I don't know. So she was like, yeah, you handled that. Then she was like, and now this thing with the elder mother. She's like, she has to be stopped. I was like, girl, you named 2 things. And one of the things you said he handled. And now this. And y'all had to bring it to him. Fake bring it, even though it ain't real. I mean, part of it's real. So Ruth was like, she has to be stopped. Nice was like, no, she doesn't. So I was like, Earl? I was like, what? But then I was like, well, you know, he condoning all types of wild shit there, so why not this? So I was like, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if him and Elder Mother have an arrangement. This is before the highest says what he says next. So he was like, no, she doesn't. She's like, she does that for me. So I was like, so I was still like, what? So then he says, she asked him to use 2 of the girls to like lure out the men who don't. Lure out the men who don't like women. To root them out, basically. So he turned to Daikon, was like, and she hasn't been doing that? Daikon was like, nope. He was like, she hasn't been using the girls, she's been using herself. Daikon was like, yep. And the highest was like, well, that won't work. She's old. And I was just like, the highest, it's funny the way, like, he's supposed to be this dude, whatever, like, he's supposed to be, like, the highest and all that, but then he says stuff like this in this moment, like, that won't work, she is old. He said stuff like that we already know, so it's just funny that he said it out loud. Daikon and Ruth know this. He's like, that won't work, she is old. He was like, they won't want her. He was like, I would talk to the elder mother. Then he tells Ruth, you can fetch me my breakfast. So she turns to try to walk away. He was like, did I say you could leave? So she turns back and walks back to him. Was like, sorry, your highest. And then this nigga says, go. I was just like, but I guess you need little comedic moments like this in a sick show like this. You need them comedic moments to bring you back a little bit. Make you laugh. So I appreciate that because the show is super sick. So Ruth runs. She dips out of there. She running away. Remember she told Daikon, I always run when he calls. So Ruth runs away. The highest asked Daikon, he was like, would you ever betray me? Daikon was like, no, never. The highest was like, well, you mustn't make it look that way. Daikon was like, yes, you're hired. The highest was like, first I smell Ruth's perfume on you, and now this. I forgot about that. I was like, oh, damn. He just keep catching Daikon in these weird situations with Ruth. Daikon was like, I swear on the Raku, I'm telling the truth. He's like, we were just trying to protect you. He was like, no one loves me more. He was like, no one loves you more than me. And then he was like, Ruth is a strong second. So I was like, okay. He knows Ruth saved his life just now. So he felt like he was obligated to say that shit. So he was like, Ruth is a strong Ruth is a strong second. He was like, we just want to protect you. So then the highest was like, well, River loves me. And I swear I thought in this moment that Daikon was going to say fuck it all and just drop the bomb about catching River in the safe and all that. I thought for sure he was about to just drop that bomb. But he surprises me and says, River may be a close third. I was like, oh, okay. And then I was like, plot twist. What if at the end of all of this, what if Daikon is undercover, bruh? What if Daikon is undercover and we never knew it? What if he is? Because he be letting a lot of stuff fly. And he be doing a lot of stuff without taking it to the highest. And then in this moment, you know he can't trust River, but he tells highest River's a close third. Or maybe he just said that because he didn't want to, like, because you know the highest will get pissed off the slightest little thing. So if he would have said, I don't know about River, the highest would have been like, what do you mean by that? So I think that's probably what Daikon did. But hey, you never know, man. Plot twist, Daikon could be he could be like the strongest undercover you never knew of. That would be a wild ass plot twist. Look, I know Tyler Perry ain't watching. Blue Kimball might not be watching either, but if y'all is watching, listen to what I'm saying. Let's hear me out. Daikon being the Fed, that would be wow. You would never see it coming. And he makes all the interactions with the sheriff. Bruh, that would be wild. But anyway, I done lost where I was at. God damn it. Yeah, oh yeah, so Daikon says River may be a close third. And then the highest was like, send River to me. So I'm wondering, I'm like, okay, this is the morning time, and the highest is usually in his little happy mood because he about to get the breakfast from the elder mother that makes him happy or whatever. And I was like, usually when he has River over, he be mad and he be ready to take the magic, aka heroin. I mean, the heroin, aka magic. So I was like, River might not get beat this time. So the highest was like, yeah, send River to me. He walks away. Then Daikon finally he exhales this shaky ass exhale he had. He's like exhale. Cause he almost lost his life. If it wasn't for Ruth, man, he knew he was about to die. That's that feeling like, you about to die. You know you was about to die and she saved your ass. So Laura, she's still hungry, child. She asking John, like, when can we eat? When can the women eat? Oh no, she asking Elder Mother. She's like, when can the women eat? Elder Mother was like, well, the men will be done soon. She's like, Zane girl, come take me to the kitchen, prepare the highest food. So the Elder Mother and Zane, they walk off, and it's just Laura and Joan there. So Laura said to Joan, she's like, is all this okay? And Joan was like, what? She was like, Laura was like, the men eating first. And Joan was like, what's the way of the Raku? And Laura was like, why? Joan was like, well, the men are our front line. They defend us every day. They are defenders. So then Laura was like, well, when do the children eat? Joan was like, after the woman. And I didn't know this. So I was like, damn, so the children eat last? I thought that was so weird. You would think the children would eat first and then I don't know. I mean, I don't feel like nobody should be eating first. Like, they all should be eating at the same damn time. Well, if anything, just the highest eats first and then everyone eats. That would make more sense. I don't know, but... So I found out in this moment that the children eat last. And I thought that was super weird. So Joan says, yeah, they eat after the woman. So Laura was like, so the children are hungry. That's what I was thinking. I was like, wait, so they gotta starve and watch all the adults eat and stuff? That's super weird. And kids are super antsy. If they see somebody eating, they gonna want to eat too. Maybe even off their plate. I was trying not to cough. Yeah, Laura was like, so the children are hungry. Joan was like, no, the children have a balanced diet. So Laura was like, where are the children? Joan was like, well, they're in the children's area. She said something. They're in their area. Laura was like, can I see? Because, Laura's dead because she can't get pregnant. She want kids real bad. So, of course, she want to see the kids. And she probably also just want to, like, get a look around. So, she was like, can I see the kids? And Joan was like, no, Laura, you have to stay here with the women. She was like, don't worry, we'll eat soon. So Ruth, she goes in the kitchen. Zane and Elder Mother in there. Tells Elder Mother that the highest wants his food. So the Elder Mother and Zane grab it. They leave out the kitchen. Oh, Joan is in there also. I have no idea where Laura is in this moment. Yeah, I have no idea where Laura is in this moment because Joan is definitely in that kitchen. Zane was in there somewhere. So then Zane and Elder Melvin, they leave out the kitchen. So it's just Ruth and Joan in there. Ruth finally exhales because, you know, she just almost lost her life too. Face don't even look like she just got hit with something. She cleaned that shit up so quick. Joan's like, are you okay? And River just like, get out my face. You know she don't like Joan for real. She just got to tolerate Joan so they get that money. You know, Joan play a key part. She the one going to the bank with the highest every day. Which feels like weeks. It feels like months. I don't know. It feel like forever. Maybe the show be just dragging. So just Joan and Ruth in there. Joan asking Ruth she alright. You know, Ruth ain't showing her no mind. River comes in the kitchen. River's asking Ruth if she okay. You know, Joan like, she won't say. Ruth was like, I'm fine. River like, you need to leave out the kitchen for somebody to see you. So River get to say, guys, it's the three of us and we got to keep it together. And they looking at him like, really? Like, nigga, you the one. Jones like, you the one just tried to kill the highest and take the money. This, that, and the third. River's like, yeah, I'm sorry about that. He's like, but I'm better now. Ruth was like, are you sure, man? Because then River, here you go again. He was like, not here you go again, because, like, this shit's serious. But he was like, man, you don't know what that man do to me every night or whenever he called me. Ruth was like, bitch, get over it. She was like, you don't know what he just tried to do to me. So Joan was like, what? What did he do? So Ruth, she ignores the question. She was like, Ruth, River, you need to go, because I can see Daikon coming. So River slips out right before Daikon comes in. You know, Daikon looking for River because the highest just told Daikon to send River to him. So Daikon comes in the trailer, asks Ruth, Joan, he's like, where's River? Ruth was like, well, we sent him to get water. Daikon was like, why didn't you just send one of the women? And she was like, well, the women haven't eaten yet, so I figured I'd send River because the women are hungry. So, you know, Ruth be having some smart little comebacks. That's a smart woman. She's smart. She's super smart, bro. I know she'd be liking to say she's street smart, but she's sense smart too. Like, she know what to say. So she was like, yeah, I figured I'd send River since he already ate and the women's still hungry. So then Daikon takes this big ass handful of food off the counter, shoves it in his mouth. He was like, I've eaten. He's like, now the women can eat. And he leaves out. Joan was like, he's a beast. It's like, we need to get up out of here. Ruth was like, now should we get this money? Then Joan tells Ruth, she's like, yeah, well, we're going to the bank today, me and the highest. Ruth was like, okay, good, bet. And I'm just like, somebody comment, like, in this situation, what would you do? Would you stay and play along? No, like, because it seems like Joan, Ruth, and River have a way out as soon as they get this money. Like, as soon as they get this money, they just know a way out. Or they think they're going to be so slick that they're going to be able to convince the highest that they can leave. I don't know. And then you got the highest on the fence thinking, should he just leave the whole cult behind and take the money? So I'm just like, if you was in this situation, women, if you was in Ruth's situation, and you had a chance to get out with your daughter, fuck the money, would you do that, or would you stay and play along to get the money like what Ruth's doing? What would you do? And men, in the situation, well, real niggas would never be in River's situation. But you never know because they drug niggas and stuff and make them feel away. So that's why I will still ask this question. Niggas, if you was in River's situation, you're getting drugged up to be happy and stuff, and food, every time you eat, you're getting drugged up to be happy. This nigga is sexually assaulting you over and over. and you had a way out, would you just leave? Or would you stick it out like what River doing and try to get this money and leave? And then he got a three-way cut it. And River getting it the worst to me. Joan ain't getting nothing. She getting to go to the bank and see the money. River is getting sexually assaulted every other night. Ruth getting beat up every other night too. This is like, do he not forget that she's supposed to be pregnant? He don't even care. He just beating her up. So it's just like, I don't know. That's why I say comment. But like, what would you do in these situations, men and women? But yeah, so Joan tells River she's going to the bank today. River's like, Joan tells Ruth they're going to the bank today. Ruth's like, cool. So River, he comes to the pavilion, all the men sitting down eating. He sits down with Manny and Manny and Lewis and a couple of other soldiers. So Manny tells River that Daikon been looking for you. So River was like, where's Daikon? And Lewis was like, well, he's in his trailer. So River was, they all smiley. It was like, okay. And then he gets up and leaves. So Manny asked Lewis, he was like, I wonder what that's about. So Lewis was like, come on, man, you know. Manny was like, I don't, so tell me. So Lewis was like, well, what we talked about. He was like, you be seeing him in the showers. Manny was like, man, I don't believe that. And Lewis was like, I'm telling you. He was like, look at him next time he gets in the shower. He's like, you don't notice all them bruises on him. He's like, the highest be into some kinky shit, boy. That's what he said. That's what Lewis says to Manny. So Manny was like, that man is the Raku, talking about the highest. He was like, that man is the Raku. So the soldier was like, you don't really believe all this shit, do you? So Manny was like, man, look what happened to me. Talking about like Zane cutting his dick up or whatever. Because the soldiers know the real story. They know the Zane story and all that. He probably told their ass to stay away from her ass too. And Ruth knows the real story too. It's just River knows the real story too. It's just the highest, Elder Mother, and Daikon that don't know the real story. So I wonder what would they do to Zane if they found out the real story. I wonder what they would do. Because, they're not supposed to be having sex without a coronation or whatever, like Ruth said. So who would be in the wrong here? Would it be Zane for doing what she did to defend herself? Or would it be Manny? Manny would be wrong off Bucks. I don't know. So Manny was like, the man is the Raku. And the soldier's like, you don't really believe this shit, do you? Manny was like, look what happened to me. So soldier was like, man, she cut you. Manny was like, her hands was in front of her. How she cut me? He was like, man, she might have put a razor on her coochie or something like that. And I was like, oh, you're not too far off. Man, he was like, man, that would have cut her too. He was like, look, I'm telling you, man. He was like, the Raku's mad at me. So the soldier get to laughing at him. He was like, look, man, we always been cool because you was always on the fence about this shit, but don't tell me you like actually falling for this. So Manny was like, man, well, why you here then? If you don't believe it. So Lewis was like, well, I'm here for the Raku. Manny was like, man, cut the shit. Like, what you really here for? So Lewis was like, man, where else I'm going to go straight out of prison? He was like, man, it's free food, free pussy, where I can be at. I was like, oh, man. So I was like, I hope he ain't in there raping the women. Like, I hope they willingly having sex with him. So Manny was like, the Raku is watching. After he was like, yeah, free food, free pussy. What else can I ask for? Manny was like, the Raku's watching. He gets up and leaves. So then this other dude, another dude, he gets some talking saying to Lewis. He was like, man, I've been watching Manny. He's like, that man, he was like, ever since that girl did what she did to him, talking about Zane, he was like, he been acting strange. He was like, I wouldn't trust him. He's like, that nigga actually falling for this shit. Then he was like, well, we know we ain't falling for that shit. Lewis was like, hell nah. Yeah, so Lewis was like, hell nah. And I was like, so there's some niggas in there. They know the shit crazy and all that, but they just don't have a better situation. So they just like, hey, I don't care about all the rape and killing and all that. As long as I got somewhere to lay my head and some cheeks to clap at night. That's how they see it. So let me get this quick little scene. Manny goes to Daikon, telling him the sheriff at the gate. He's like, let me turn him away. Daikon was like, nah, I'll handle it. Then he asked Then Daikon tried to ask Manny. He was like, so how you feeling? I was like, nah, shut up, Daikon. I was trying to ask him down. You know, found out after the fact. So Manny was like, I'm feeling better. He was like, I apologize for like all the confusion, all the stuff that happened. Daikon was like, yeah, you better be, or something he said. I don't even know what he said. So Daikon goes out front of the gate, sheriff there. And I was irritated because I was like, didn't he, oh, wait. Oh, no, never mind. Last time we talked to Daikon, it was about Mac being, about them making Mac step down. Yeah, so the sheriff, he's there telling Daikon. Daikon was like, what you here for, another girl? Or he was like, yeah, that too. He was like, but hold on. I was just like, look at this nigga be geeking. So he was like, we got a problem. He was like, they just sent some new FBI agents and they looking for Brian. He was like, where is Brian? Daikon was like, Brian won't be coming back. I can't believe Andrew really did that, bruh. Blue, you really did that, bruh. I mean, he had no choice. His life was Brian's life. I wish it could have been Malcolm. Malcolm's the asshole. But it is what it is. And Malcolm probably, I think, Malcolm should still be alive. Last time we seen Malcolm, he was in the electric chair. So Daikon was like, yeah, Brian not coming back. And Sheriff was like, man, what am I supposed to tell the FBI agents then? Daikon was like, well, tell them Brian went home. And Sheriff was like, I already did that. Daikon was like, well, did they check? He was like, not as of yet, or something he said. He was basically like, no, not yet. But Daikon was like, well, stall them until this evening. And the sheriff was like, why? Daikon was like, I'm going to help you fix this. The sheriff was like, how? Always with the questions and shit. Daikon was like, the less you know, the better. He's like, but we will find out. Sheriff was like, I don't like this. I don't like them snooping around. I was like, oh. Daikon was like, it'll be fine. Sheriff was like, well, get it handled, Daikon. He's like, I hate coming up here. Daikon was like, don't we make it worth your while every time? He was like, no, not that last girl. And I was like, nigga, that last girl had you like, I'm coming on the radio with your little sheriff deputy. But she wasn't enough. So I'm getting up there in age. I need somebody that's perfect. And I'm just like, I am not with the little scenes with the sheriff and the little Rocky Douchey girls. We don't need them. We had too many of them. The one in the sheriff's office, and then in the car. We don't need it. I think I was like, we're looking forward to your next visit. So Zane and Elder Mother, they bring food to the highest. He asking Zane, like, how are you doing? And Zane was like, oh, I'm doing so well. And Elder Mother was standing beside Zane, cheesing and shit. Highest was like, well, that's wonderful, my child. Zane was like, is there anything I could do for you? What she say? Yeah, she was like, is there anything I could do for you? Is there anyone being out of line? Remember, Ruth said Zane asked him snap since she killed that soldier. So I think that's hilarious. She's like, is there anybody being out of line? So the highest was like, no, it's being taken care of. So Zane mentioned, she was like, well, you still got she mentions Andrew and Malcolm. She's like, you still got 2 agents in there. She's like, can I shoot them? The highest was like, in time, my child, in time. So then River comes in the trailer. So the highest was like, River, did you hear that? River was like, I did not, sir. River was like, the highest was like, well, she wants to shoot the prisoners. River's like, does she now? You know, River got to play the part, but he in his head like, this bitch done gone crazy. So the highest was like, Zane's an elder mother in training. Elder mother still cheesing. So River was like, yes, she is. Zane was like, thank you. So then the highest dismisses Zane right before he asked her. He was like, if there was something going on in the camp that would cause me harm, you would tell me, right? Zane was like, yes, of course. Like, of course, Elder Mother. So then Zane leaves out. When she asked to shoot Malcolm and Andrew, Elder Mother face was like, oh my God, this girl. I forgot to mention that. I thought that was funny. So then Zane leaves out the trailer. Elder Mother was like, well, I'm going to let you get to your food, the highest. Highest was like, nope, you stay right here, Elder Mother. Then River, he was like, I need to talk to you, Elder Mother. So then River was like, okay, well, I'll step out. And Highest was like, nope, River, I want you here for a reason, too. So then the Highest asked Elder Mother, she was like, have you ever made a pass at River? So, Elder Mother was like, oh, no, never. So the Highest was like, well, why not? Elder Mother was like, that wouldn't be the way of the Raku. And I was like, girl. So the Highest says, but you've been making passes at lots of the men. So she bombed out now. The Elder Mother says, no, I haven't. So the Highest was like, what would you call it? Elder Mother starts stuttering. She looks to River for some reason. I was like, he can't save you. But she looks to River for some reason. She whispers to that's probably why she looks to River. Cause right after that she does like this to the Highest. She was like, privately, like, can we talk privately? Basically, probably didn't want to say nothing because River was in the room. So the Highest, he tells her, like, talk. So she talks about the little arrangement that they supposed to have had. She was like, you told me to test the men, so I tested them. She's like, and I had a good report. So the Highest was like, well, you told me you had ladies. And she was like, well, the ladies weren't doing a good job, so I took the task upon myself. And I was just like, ew. I put the little emoji, y'all know the one. So the Highest, he asked Elder Mother, he asked her, what did you do to Manny? So she was like, Manny? She was like, I stitched him up. I stitched his penis up. And the Highest was like, because? And Elder Mother was like, well, he said he cut himself with a knife. So I was like, oh, snap. Who the Highest about to believe? So the Highest was like, and you had nothing to do with it. Elder Mother was like, no, of course not, no. So then she looks to River and was like, who could have told you that? So it's like, but I think it was an episode where River walked in the infirmary and saw her tending to his penis. I think. I can't remember because I be high, bro. I don't remember. But I think it was a scene where River came in the infirmary to get Elder Mother for something, and she was in there working on Manny's stitching them up. I think. Anyway. So she was like, who could have told you that? So the Highest was like, are you being honest with me, Elder Mother? Elder Mother was like, yes, I am. So then the Highest called Zane back in, who I thought walked off somewhere. So apparently she was still standing outside. So he called Zane back in. He tells Zane to take Elder Mother to the punishment trailer. Elder Mother was like, no. Zane was like, can I punish her, please? Geeking. I said, bruh. So the Highest was like, no, just take her there and wait for me. So Elder Mother was like, no. She yells again, and Zane smacks the shit out. She's like, what did you hear the Highest say? Come on, old lady, and grabs her. I said, oh snap. I said, okay, Zane. I know you know she been geeking to do that because Elder Mother done smacked her a couple of times. You know she was geeking to do that. And she was just told she can't punish her. Like, I'm gonna get my lick back some way. Like, what does the ass just say? That was super funny. He's like, come on, old lady. So they leave out the trailer, Zane and Elder Mother. The highest was like, Zane, that girl's impressive. So River was like, yes, she is. So the highest was like, oh, I will share my breakfast. And River was like, oh no, I'm full. I ate. You eat, you need your strength. The highest was like, yeah, because I got to meet with those government officials today. Like, basically saying, like, he got to go to the bank today. So it's, well, you know, the men and stuff, they get up at like 5:30 at the Rockadushi camp. We learned that last episode when River told Aaron. So we assuming it's super early. It's probably like 6 something. It gotta be 6:30 something. Because the sheriff told the FBI agent to come back the next morning at 6:30. So they could look at the cameras and stuff. So they there bright and early, bright and bushy tailed. The little female deputy, she comes. I can't remember her name, but because she kind of annoying. So she comes in. She lets them in. She was like, oh, the sheriff isn't here yet. Maybe running late. Let me call him. I was like, his ass probably at the Rockadushi camp smashing one of them little Rockadushi Jones. And at this point, as they come in the sheriff's station, I see the dude. He has the FBI jacket on and it says FBI. She got her badge around her neck. So remember last episode, they was trying to keep their identities from the female deputy woman. She kept asking them who they was or whatever, and they wouldn't tell her. But now they, like, you could clearly see they stuff say FBI. So, but they don't even bring it up in this moment. But I was like, well, the female deputy obviously knows who they are now. So she was like, the sheriff's phone's out of range. They was like, well, he told us to be here first thing in the morning. Here we are, first thing in the morning. They was like, try his radio. She tried his radio, no answer. And she was like, well, you know, the sheriff's a diabetic. And sometimes he oversleeps. She was like, let me call his wife. So she calls his wife, and as she's dialing the number, she was like, yeah, last thing we want is another person going missing. So he was like, what do you mean by that? Who went missing? So then all of a sudden the wife answers. She on the phone she talking with the wife. She trying to stall. She's asking about neighbors and kids. Something like, I'll babysit this and the third. So then she gets off the phone, tells them that the sheriff's wife said something about he got a call about some missing sheep, goats, something like that. Some missing goats. And that he probably gonna be in this real far out, so it's probably gonna be a while. And they was like, how long? And she was like, probably like 3 hours. So you know the male FBI agent, he kind of be getting agitated quick, but the woman one, she keeps it kind of calm. So he getting agitated. She was like, well, that's fine. She was like, that's fine. She's like, now let's talk about these missing people that you was talking about. And she was like, oh, well, the female deputy's like, oh, it's embarrassing. Don't worry about it. It was like, how's it embarrassing? She was like, well, we had a deputy and I didn't know he was on drugs and he met this girl and he disappeared. She was like, and he had the girl at the station, and the sheriff saw it and was pissed about it. It was just real bad. So then they asked her the deputy's name, and she told them. She was like, oh, Deputy Pogue. So it was like, is Pogue from around here? Pogue. That make me think of Outer Banks. That's a bomb show. Check it out just check it out. It's a good show on Netflix. But she was like, they was like, is Pogue from around here? So then she get the, oh, I know what you guys are doing. She was like, ain't nothing happened here. He just disappeared. He was just trouble. I mean, he was just troubled, and he just disappeared. She was like, can I get y'all some coffee? They was like, nope, we don't need no coffee. Like, we just gonna stay here and wait for the sheriff. I like the female detective. She's like, she ain't with the bullshit. He trying to stall them out and talk about some that coming in the morning. Yeah, I mean, talking about some coming in the morning. She was like, fine, that's fine. And now he's saying 3 hours. She's like, fine, we're gonna sit here and wait for him. And at that point, I felt like get a warrant and just check the damn cameras yourself. Because at this point, you got 3 missing agents. And she just told you it's a deputy missing. At this point, get a warrant to check the cameras. Because most likely, I don't even know most likely, you know for sure when the sheriff get there, he's going to try to find some way to like manipulate the cameras to make them see what he don't, to make them see what he want them to see. So it's just like at this point, get a warrant. So they go sit down away from the deputy in the station. The male agent was like, he was like, something's fishy here. He was like, what is the sheriff hiding? And the female agent was like, I don't know, but we're gonna find out. And the way she looks at him and says that, I'm like, are they in a relationship? She was like, I don't know, but we'll find out. Like they a couple or something. But anyway. So back with River and the highest in the highest trailer, and Daikon comes in, telling the highest like, I need to speak to you. And the highest was like, well, I'm talking with the River. And Daikon was like, well, it's important. So the highest, he excuses River out, and so Daikon gets to talking about he's sorry again about the whole Elder Mother situation. I'm like, is that why he just told him to talk to him? It's important. But then he gets to talk. He was like, the highest was like, well, I sent Elder Mother to the punishment trailer, and Daikon was like, well, can I punish her? He was like, shall I? And the highest was like, nah, I got it. So the highest was like, why do you keep things from me? So asking Daikon that. Daikon was like, well, I know that you get upset, and I know I can handle it quickly, so you won't even have to worry about it. Daikon was like, it's all out of love, sir. And the highest was like, well, I don't like it. I want to know everything, and this, that, and third. Daikon was like, of course, your highest, whatever. The highest was like, you running out of chances with me, Daikon. Daikon was like, I know, that's why I have to tell you this. So Daikon was like, he tells the highest about the new FBI agents and the sheriff's visit. Tell them about the FBI agents or whatever. And he was like, don't get upset. Tells the highest this. The highest was like, the government, they're coming in here. They're looking for them. Talking about Malcolm, Andrew, and Brian. So Daikon was like, well, I have a plan. Which is really Andrew's plan. Shout out to Blue Campbell. So he was like, this is really Andrew's plan that you just taking credit for, Daikon. Lenny. I'm learning their real names because I be having to look up the cast. So he was like, I got a plan. He tells the highest this. So he mentions, he was like, so you know Andrew killed Brian. The highest was like, yeah. And Daikon was like, well, we can test Andrew. And the highest was like, how would we do that? So then Daikon tells the highest about Andrew's plan, which he just tried to say was his. But, so you know the plan to put Brian and his wife's bodies in their bedroom bed, in their house, whatever. Burn the bodies up, make it look like murder-suicide. He telling the highest all this. Andrew said he can make it look like a murder-suicide. And he said that he got some evidence to make it look like Brian's wife was cheating. And, man, where am I? Yeah, he said he got evidence that he could prove that Brian's wife was cheating and she was on drugs. And Heights was like, well, this is the FBI. They will know. They will know. Daikon was like, well, Andrew said he know how to arrange the bodies to make the ballistics match. And he was like, in the fire, basically do the rest. So the highest asked, he asked Daikon, he was like, do you think Andrew can do it? Daikon was like, well, he just killed an FBI agent, killed on one of his own. Right? And Highest was like, where's Andrew now? And I was like, where do you think he is? Daikon was like, in the punishment trailer. Of course he is. Anybody do something wrong, punishment trailer. Or electric fluid trailer, whatever. And I'm just thinking, like, I was wondering in this moment, I knew we probably won't get to this episode because it moved so slow, but I was like, I wonder how that conversation between Andrew and Elder Mother gonna go in the punishment trailer. But then, so then we get the highest. He tells Andrew that he'll talk to he tells Dyke. The highest tells Daikon that he'll talk to Andrew after he has this announcement to the men. He wants to talk to the men. He asks where the men are. Daikon tells him they're in the pavilion. And the highest tells Daikon, like, go prepare them. Tell them I'm coming. So Daikon, he turns, but then he was like, oh, well, you still have your guests, talking about Aaron and Laura. So the highest was like, oh yeah, the guy comes from money, talking about Aaron. And Daikon tells the highest, like, well, they tried to leave last night. And the highest was like, why? And Daikon was like, well, they got spooked. And the highest was like, by what? So Daikon tells the highest, like, Aaron was snooping around and he found the container with Andrew and them in it. With Andrew, Malcolm, and Brian in there. It's like he found the agents. So the highest was like, well, did the woman want to leave too? Asking, did Laura want to leave? Daikon was like, yep, she did. So the highest was like, well, bring Laura to me. And then he tells Daikon, Daikon was like, what about Aaron? And the highest was like, well, take him to the punishment trailer and spend some type of story with Andrew, see if he buys it. And if all goes well, then he'll be with you guys at the pavilion, something like that. So at first I was thinking like, oh, they're about to lock him up in the punishment trailer. Like, he definitely ain't gonna want to stay there now. That's what I was thinking. I ain't know why. That's what I was thinking. So Daikon, he goes to the pavilion, tells the men, like, hurry up and finish eating. The highest wants to talk to all the men, all that. So then Joan, she comes out the kitchen. She announces, she was like, now women, now we can eat. So all the women like, yes, finally. Then right after that, Daikon comes over to Joan and was like, have the women clean up all the men's stuff quickly. Like the highest about to make a speech. So the women can't eat yet. They gotta clean up. Then he tells Joan, he was like, and tell your little friend that the highest wants to see her. So Joan was like, oh, he wants to see them? That's great. And Daikon was like, well, he wants to see her. She was like, well, what about Aaron? Daikon was like, mind the business they pay. Well, he don't say that, but he was like, do what I tell you to do. So then you get Daikon approaching Aaron. He tells him to come with him. Then Joan, she goes over to Laura, tells her that the highest wants to see her. Laura looking all fake happy, I don't know. So as Joan and Laura are walking to the highest trailer, Ruth and River watching them. So this quick little moment, River and Ruth, they see Joan and Laura walking into the highest trailer. And then River says to Ruth, you think that's something? Turn around. So in this moment, she turns around and it's Daikon there. And he immediately gets on her, why are you here, Ruth? So I was just like, did River just like set Ruth up for that? Like, that was weird to me. So he was like, you think that's something? Turn around. So then Ruth turns around. Daikon was like, why are you up here, Ruth? Yeah, I put the River to set her up. But then Ruth had a rebuttal quick as hell. That I'm telling you, the bitch is smart. She be quick with it. She's like, well, you just told the women to clean up after the men, did you not? Bam, got his ass. So Daikon was like, but do it quickly. He was like, well, get to it. And he leaves. So then River goes back up, and Ruth goes back up to River. She was like, what you think that's about? Talking about Laura and Joan in the highest trailer. River says, I see it. I don't know what that meant. I don't know, man. So the highest, he tells, so now we in the highest trailer. It's the highest's trailer. Joan and Laura come in. The highest tells Joan, like, you can leave, Joan. So then it's just him and Laura in there. He asks Laura, like, how is she? He asked Laura how she is. Laura was like, oh, I'm fine. He was like, you look nervous. And she was like, I am. He was like, oh, don't be child. And he was like, how was your first night here? And she was like, well, it was interesting. And he was like, why is that? And she was like, well, all that I read about you is that you're a healer. He cussed her off and was like, have you eaten? And she was like, yes. And he was like, did the elder mother prepare it? And she was like, yeah. I was like, dang, y'all just be, way to be subtle about it. The husband, no. That's why he threw his food up. He knew it was something when they kept saying the elder mother made it, or the elder mother should make you some food. Like, he knew what was up. She still ain't caught on to about the food part yet. So he was like, did the elder mother make it? And she was like, yeah. He was even like, good. And in that moment, I was like, you said, he asked you, did you eat? And I could have swore they hadn't eaten yet. Because she was so hungry. And then Joan came out there and said, now we can eat to the women. But then Daikon came right after that and said, oh, no, I need y'all to clean up after the men first. And that was and then that same moment, he told her that the highest wanted to see Laura. So I was like, Laura hasn't eaten. I was like, last thing she ate was the meal that the elder mother made for her when her and Aaron wanted to leave. So I was like, I don't know. But she said she had eaten. And I was just like, maybe she did eat quickly before they sent her to the highest. I don't know. But, so he says to her, like, continue what you were saying. So she was like, I know that you're a healer. And she was like, I just want to be in joy and paradise. She was like, I want to be a mother. She started rambling on or whatever. He was like, slow down. And she was like, oh, I'm sorry. She was like, I'm sorry, but my husband, and I was like, your husband is a doubter. And she was like, how do you know that? I was like, girl, you don't think they coming to him telling them everything? What is wrong with you? I was like, they're going to get Laura. They're going to get Laura. They might not get Aaron. They might have to kill Aaron, but they're going to get Laura. So she was like, how do you know that? He was like, the rock who knows all things. She was like, well, that's good. She was like, well, do you really heal? And I was like, excuse me? Like he was offended. She was like, well, my husband said that he saw them FBI agents tied up and one of them was cut. She's like, is this all so confusing that we haven't had a chance to talk? And he cuts her off and was like, do you want to be healed? And she was like, yes. He was like, do you really want to follow the Raku? And she was like, yes, but my husband. He was like, I have no buts. He was like, it's a yes or no question. And she was like, yes. He was like, then hush. And then he blows her powder in her face like 3 times. I'm assuming it's 3 different powders. That's probably how they get you. That's probably how they got Brian's wife. And somebody else's wife, but I don't want to spoil it for people who haven't watched the old. So, then we get the same. Daikon brings Aaron to the punishment trailer. And I was like, how the hell did they get to the punishment trailer before Zane and the elder mother? Now, I know the elder mother walked slow. But she got sent to the punishment trailer way before Daikon came and told him mentioned Aaron. And the highest said to send Aaron to the punishment trailer. But I was just like, how they get there before Elder Mother and Zane? But anyway. So Daikon was like, says to Andrew, he was like, you remember him? Like talking, you remember Aaron? So Andrew tried to say no at first. He was like, no, I don't. So Daikon was like, Andrew? So Andrew was like, well, yeah, I remember him. So then Daikon was like, well, Aaron came in here and saw 4 other men. And Andrew was like, 2 other men. And then Daikon was like, 2 other men. So in that moment, I was like, who fucked up there? Like, who said the wrong number? Was Andrew supposed to go along with it and say 4? Or did Daikon mess up and was supposed to say 2? I don't know, but so Daikon was like, 2 men in here. Daikon was like, Daikon tells Andrew, he was like, I was just telling Aaron about our healing program for drug addicts. So Andrew immediately catches on. And I was like, when did Joan tell Daikon that she had this soldier make up this story about holding drug addicts until they kick their addiction? They didn't even show that. I guess it wasn't needed, but whatever. So Andrew, he catches on super quick. So he was like, oh yeah, definitely. So Daikon was like, well, tell him about it. Tell Aaron about it, Andrew. So Andrew was like, man, it's brutal, man. He's like, but this is what I signed up for. He was like, man, I was high. I was going through withdrawals, man. I was like, I probably would have said anything. So Aaron was like, so you're not FBI? Andrew started laughing. He was like, oh, FBI. He was like, man, do I look like FBI to you? He was like, man, I'm a drug addict. So Aaron was like, well, why are you chained up? So Andrew was like, well, I asked for it this way. He was like, I got to get this shit out of my system. He was like, it's worth it because I'm doing better. You know, he playing the part. So Daikon was like, well, me and the highest will come see you later. And they leave. Daikon tells Aaron, we need to take you back to the front because the highest wants to talk to the men. So then we get this final scene. All the men, they waiting at the pavilion. You know, the dude that was sitting with Lewis earlier, he asked Lewis, he's like, what you think this is about? Lewis was like, probably some more bullshit. Oh, excuse me. Manny walks over, sits beside them. Lewis like, and how are you, brother? Manny was like, I'm good. So then Daikon and Aaron walk up. Daikon tells Aaron, like, you stand somewhere over there. So then the highest comes. He being carried in the chair by 4 men. All the dudes cheering. They like, hi, yes. I'm like, oh, how corny. So they sit him down. He gets to talking. He's talking about, like, as you know, Ruth will be my wife. He's like, and I heard that some of you men have been in here lusting and having sex with the women. He's like, I ain't gonna call you out because the Raku had already told me who you are. He's like, some of you men have even been so desperate that you have been that you have attempted things with older women. So he was like, I want you to go write on the paper, yes or no, if you slept with the elder mother. So they all started laughing. He was like, it'll stay anonymous. No, he was like, write down the paper, yes or no, if you slept with the elder mother. He was like, it'll stay anonymous. Then they started laughing. He was like, oh, you think this is funny? He was like, don't laugh. He was like, write your answers. He tells River, like, pass out the plate or something. Whatever it is. I guess the paper, whatever they writing on. And he tells Daikon to count it all. So then he tells them, he's like, I'm going to allow some men. He was like, I know you guys are men and you have urges or whatever. So he was like, so I'm going to allow some men to have a wife. He's like, not all of y'all. He was like, but you're going to have to choose wisely because whoever you choose, that's going to be the only person you can lay with forever, for the rest of your life. Basically like marriage is supposed to be. So he was like, well, all of the men that's been enlightened, stand up. So you see River geeking out. He stand up super quick. A couple of men stand up, not a lot. Like half of the men stand up. Manny, Lewis, and the other dude, they don't stand up. They sit right in front. They don't stand up. I guess they just want that pussy without commitment. Even in a cult, niggas want pussy without commitment. But so the nigga that's enlightened, he stands up. He was like, well, you want to be enlightened? He's like, must let me enlighten you first. And I'm assuming, like, is he talking about the butt fucking stuff again? So he was like, Raku does need children. He was like, but but my seed will be the only seed that reproduces. So I'm just like, is he still talking about the butt fucking, like? And I'm assuming his way is like he busts his nut. This is so nasty. He busts his nut in the dude's butt, and then they sleep with the women, and then you're supposed to assume that it's his nut. Like, that's weird. But that's what I'm assuming. So he was like, before you get enlightened, I gotta enlighten you myself. And he was like, Raku does need children, and I'm gonna be the only seed to reproduce. So he tells everybody, he was like, all right, the men that are enlightened, he's like, I'm gonna let you choose a wife at a ritual that we do later on tonight. So applause starts. So then he starts to talk about this random stuff. He's like, well, you guys have been loyal. And then next thing you know, Aaron's phone goes off. And I'm just like, bruh. I said, bruh, you didn't put that joint on vibrate, bruh? Not even vibrate, because you can still hear a vibrate depending on how the sound is, where you at. Silent, bruh. You know where you at. You know you ain't supposed to have no phone. It's kind of on their part. It's kind of wrong on their part too, because I thought they searched them when they first got there. I can't remember. Did they search Aaron and Laura when they first got there? Don't remember. But either way, this dumbass nigga should at least have the phone on silent. And now you know what the service said, but it's too late because they about to take that down and possibly lock your ass up in the punishment trailer. I don't know, but I was like, dumbass Aaron. So the heist was like, is that a phone? Aaron ruffling in his pocket like an idiot trying to turn it off. I would just let that joint ring. Everybody was still looking around like they didn't know where it was coming from. Shit, I'd have been looking. As long as ain't nobody pointing them out, shit. I'd have still been looking around. But he ruffling in his pocket for his phone. The heist looking at him like he's staring a hole into him. You know, Aaron's sweating bullets now. So I'm just like, what's going to happen with Aaron? But that's how it ends. And I was like, oh, man, that's crazy. So, like I said, I graded it A-, because I didn't think that was going to happen at the end. And the whole thing with the heist about to cut off Daikon and Ruth's head, I thought that was wild. And the thing that, and the heist did what he did to Laura. So, yeah, I just thought that was A- worthy. Predictions for episodes to come. Elder Mother looks like she about to get punished for something she ain't do. I mean, for half of something that she didn't do. I mean, yeah, she been doing this nasty stuff with these dudes, but she didn't do what she did to Manny. So I guess she still should get punished. But would that be the end of the Manny situation? He seemed to be healing up, seemed to be cool, not limping no more. What's gonna happen with Lacey? I'm still just thinking about Lacey, and I still think Lacey gonna make it out. Are they gonna throw Aaron in the punishment trailer with Elder Mother and Andrew? I don't know. What's gonna happen to Aaron now that they done found this phone? And poor Laura, she probably just laid out in the highest trailer on the floor while he giving this speech about giving them wives and stuff. Poor Laura. Yeah. Of course I'm rooting for the FBI guys because Ruth and River and Joan are willing to let these people, all types of people there, go through this sad situation just for some money. And it's just like, I get it, because it's like, if you're going to go through all this, why not leave with a payday? But at the same time, think about it, especially Ruth, like, you got a whole child. I don't know, man. But yeah, those are my predictions for episodes to come. Thanks for watching this video. Please like the video, subscribe to my channel. Hit the share button and notification bell if you want to. And yeah, holla at your girl. Peace.